Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Algarve for a PC2 GT3 League presented by Intersport 37. We still don't have a league name yet. We probably need to work on that, but once again, we still do not have a league name. But yeah, you join us for qualifying here for the sprint race here at Algarve. It's only at 7-car field, which is okay. It's smaller than what we've had in the past, but you only need 2 cars to have a darn good race. So 7 drivers will be out here to battle for the victory in both the sprint races and the feature races. So we're looking live here at Intersport 37 in the Ginetta. I believe this is his outlap. I'm pretty sure it's his outlap. So drivers to look out for here today is the last race winner from Brands Hatch, who won both races, both the sprint and the feature event, is STX Cone Dodger. He obviously is going to have some strong pace. He's driving the BMW this evening, so he's going to try and find some pace in the Beamer. So let's go through the field here and see the cars everyone is in. The Cuddly Koala, I do believe, is in the Mercedes SLS. UDL Damage is in the Acura. XX Driver is in the Renault. And Cone Dodger is in the BMW. Mobius is in the Lamborghini. Daniel, I believe that is the McLaren, and Intersport is driving the Ginetta. So we're going to go live here at the STX Cone Dodger, who is just now starting his flying lap. He's coming through the hairpin now and going through the fast left-hander. Now the insanely fast right-hander, and uses as much track as possible. Just clips the apex. Beautiful corner there by STX Cone Dodger. This should be a pretty good lap from him, as I do expect him to take pole here on this qualifying session, just to show the dominance that he showed in Brands Hatch as well. I'll turn on the track map here where I can see where exactly they are. So he is in the middle part of Sector 3 now. Haven't seen a lot of mistakes that lap. Goes a tad wide there. Shouldn't be a problem. Coming through the massive right-hander now. Using as much curb as possible. Blasting down the pit straight now. What lap time will Cone set? It's going to be a 1:43.1. That puts him at the top of the standings in front of Intersport. 2/10 faster than Intersport and the Cuddly Koala. It's Daniel P4 about second and 2/10 off, and it's Daniel P. Right, yeah. Excuse me. It's Daniel P4, it's Damage P5, and then P6 is XX Driver Mobius, yet to set a lap time. We'll see if anyone else is going for a flyer here. I do believe that Daniel is trying for a flyer since he didn't retire to the pit box. So this is another attempt here from Daniel. He's going to try and improve on his 1:44.4. He's going to have to find about over a second if he wants a chance to take P1 from STX Cone Dodger, and he's currently a second and a 10th up on his best time. It's looking good for Daniel. The field is very close this time around, unlike Brands Hatch, where Cone was just the class of the field all night long. So Daniel now heading out of into the penultimate corner and coming into the final corner now. Very long right-hander. Gonna use the curve as much as he can. Blasting down the pit straight now isn't enough. Does he take P1 away from STX Cone Dodger? Coming across the line now. He hasn't done it. but he has improved in an incredible amount. So we seem to have kind of a tier list forming here. We've got the top four, who are within a half a second of each other, and Daniel loses it in turn 3, I believe. So he heads out instantly for another attempt in qualifying. 3 minutes 55 seconds remain in this session, so this is where it turns into crunch time, as drivers try and set their fastest laps. And looks like Kelly Koala insanely close to taking away pole, 18 thousandths off a pole. So Intersport now, I don't believe this is a flyer from Intersport. If it is, this is going to be embarrassing on my end. So here comes Intersport. In case it is, I'm going to call out, I get the flyer. He's blasting down the home straight now. He's coming across the line. Will it be enough? That was obviously an outlap. Made that way too dramatic than what it had to be. He takes turn 1 beautifully. It goes a little wide. That's okay because we believe in using as much track as possible here, because this game is kind of broken with track limits. So we actually like to race in this league. So we have the rules and stuff turned on, so we are using the honor system. I just missed that insane lap from Cone, who said 42.7. That's absolutely remarkable from him. Let's see if anyone else can take that away from him. It looks like that the Kelly Koala is the only one who's really insanely close, and then it's Intersport is about 6 tenths down. But Intersport once again is on a flyer attempt here. I didn't see how far up or down he was across the first timing line, but we will see how far, if he's up or down across the second timing line. Coming up just at the exit of this corner, so Intersport hits the apex beautifully, comes across the line. That's not going to be enough. He's only 27 thousandths up. He's got to find 6 more tenths to have a chance for pole. Into sector 3 now. Really, really technical part of the track here. Coming around the final corner now, it's Intersport. He's going to use as much track as possible. Actually, he doesn't. I take that back. But he's going to come across the line now. Is it enough for pole? I imagine it's not, unless he found 6 tenths. And no, he's actually down on his best lap delta. Now, popped up that we had a comment on my screen. I'm trying to find it, but it's not popping up for whatever reason. So if you sent a comment, I do apologize. I cannot see it for whatever reason. I'm looking at the chat now, but I just cannot see your comment. But whoever you are, thanks for joining us. This is a weekly thing. We do this every Friday. We were off last Friday for the Rolex 24 because we wanted to take a break and watch the Rolex, because, I mean, who wouldn't? So Intersport now is about a tenth up on his time. So we're going to come back to him. Let's see how the Kelly Koala is doing. Locks up a little bit. Heading into the penultimate corner now. Going to use as much track as possible. And that big Mercedes SLS goes way wide. That's not going to be that big of an issue, I do not believe. Here he comes around the final corner. I don't know if this is a flyer or not. But he's looking quick. Once again, I see that you posted a comment, but I don't have your comment. I don't know what all that is about, but I cannot see your comment. But Koala did not improve there. I didn't see if he was on an outlap or not. And Cone Dodger sets the fastest lap with a 42.6. But we're going to look here with Koala. I'm trying to figure out this comment issue, so I'm sorry if you're watching and getting just interrupted by all my issues. But I can't seem to see the comments at the moment. If anyone knows exactly what's going on, you're watching and knows why I can't see the comments, that'd be greatly appreciated. But wow, so Koala now a tenth up. Koala could be a threat for pole here. In the second sector now, coming out of the hairpin, blasting down the hill now. He's going to head into the left-handed kink. Here comes the most challenging corner on the track. He's got to take an awkward line. It works out for him, hugging the apex, using the track up as much as possible, really pushing the car to the absolute limits. He loses a little bit of time. He's going to have to try and find a 10th through Sector 3. I don't think if he's going to be able to do it or not. Out of the penultimate corner now. Here he comes, using as much track once again. The big Mercedes SLS around the final corner. Is it enough? No, he just aborts his lap, I do believe. He goes wide and lets Daniel, I do believe that is, come across. But is Daniel up on his time? I don't know because the camera's broken. Here he comes, he's going to blast across the line. Is it enough for pole? He does improve. He does improve a lot. He's only a 10th off of STX, but that's good enough for P3. So, qualifying complete. It's Cone Dodger P1. And I've got to fix this deadgum stream. I'm not sure what's going on, fellas. I cannot see the comments for whatever reason. Okay, so we're going to get a mid-session interview with Cone Dodger here. So give us a second to get that set up. Hey Cone, you got a copy?
I got you, Sinister.
All right, so once again you are on pole for the sprint race here at Algarve. How are you feeling?
Scared.
Scared. That's a good word for it. You've got a fast group of drivers behind you. It seems like the top four is all within about 2/10 of each other. So it's gonna. I do believe it's gonna be a close race. So, so how do you think that this race will pan out?
I'm really not sure. I think Mr. Koala here is gonna be very tough to beat. I'm running into the issue of I can't keep my tires at an acceptable temperature for more than 5 laps. So I think hopefully I can gap the field a little bit in the first lap or two, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna catch me right up.
Possibly. Who knows? It's gonna be very exciting and very unpredictable. So you chose the BMW M6, I believe, right?
Yes.
So just explain to the viewers of why you chose the M6.
So I'm a BMW guy. I'm not the biggest fan of the M6, being that it's a rather large automobile. Certainly has some girth and some weight to it, which doesn't help the tire temp issue. But it's got good mechanical grip, which I really value above all else in a GT car. And I get to run this beautiful Turner Motorsport livery. So that's always a plus.
Indeed you do. Alright, so I'm going to let you go now and have fun. So thanks for talking to us, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Sinister.
That was Cone, the pole sitter for this race here at Algarve. Once again, we're getting comments, and I finally see a comment from Evan Quinn saying, "Damage, you see nothing if you're here." That's probably the most useless comment that has come in, but that is the only one I've seen. So if you are commenting, I do apologize. I cannot see your comment for whatever reason. We're coming up through Sector 2 now. We're getting ready for a fantastic event here. It's a very close field. It's only 7 drivers, but that just means that the racing could be absolutely incredible. We could have a 7-car battle for P1. Didn't see that comment either. Okay, I actually did see that one. Okay, fantastic. We've got got progress here at the Sinister Owl YouTube channel. So there's apparently 6 comments. I can only see 2. Okay, back to the topic at hand here. 7 cars, 20 minutes of just flat out racing here from Algarve for round 3 of the PC2 GT3 League. STX Cone Dodger leads the field around the final corner. On the pit straight now, eyes are on the lights. 3 rows of 2 with Mobius rounding out the field. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you're just as excited as I am. We've got 20 minutes here of just fantastic racing. We're green from Algarve, and it looks like a pretty keen start from the entire field. And STX, he gets a good start, but Daniel's going to look in the McLaren to the inside of both of them. And Daniel takes the lead into turn 1. What a move from Daniel. Very adventurous. Oh my! Oh, it's a huge collision. Oh no, that's not what we wanted to see. That's not what we wanted to see here today. 2 of the top contenders are getting into it. Looks like Koala made some contact with Daniel, but I didn't lose too much time. They're still on the tail end of this pack, but STX Home Dodge is going to try and check out now. What an incredible start. We're already starting off very exciting. Bunch of stuff happening. Now Daniel's going for a dive bomb on damage here. What a move. He just made damage look like easy work there. Back at the front now, it's Cone Dodger leading from about 7/10 from Intersport and the Janetta. That's XX Driver in P3. Mobius has worked his way up to P4. P5 is Daniel, who was involved in that crash in turn 1. P6 is UDL Damage, and P7 is the cuddly Koala in the Mercedes SLS. Gap now from first to second. 1 second is the gap. And it looks like a big lock up there from the cuddly Koala. The car just is not looking great at all. In qualifying, it looks strong. About a 10th and a half off of Cone Dodge. That's a lot of smoke being produced by the tires there. Might want to get that covered. So it's Intersport who's trying to chase down Cone Dodger. He tried to chase him down at Brands Hatch, and where is Cone going? I'm not sure what. Okay, I'm just as confused as y'all. This is some Pagano stuff that's going on here, and Intersport tried to keep up with him. It kind of worked for him. He's right there. So now Koala into the pits now. Into the pits already for Koala in this sprint race. It's not going well for Koala. Started great in P2, P3 I believe, and now he's just all the way down at the back of the pack. So Intersport keeping Cone in check despite being about a second off in qualifying. Intersport not going away just yet. The Janetta and BMW seem to be pretty close on pace, so it could be a pretty good race here for P1. So we're going to look back to the field here. Looks like a pretty good battle for P4. An okay battle. Mobius is piloting a beautiful number 78 Lamborghini. He started P7, but after of the turn 1 shenanigans, he's worked his way up to P4. But Daniel's going to be right on his heels here. Daniel's furious. Daniel's mad. Daniel will not be going down this easy. Daniel will be an incredible competitor in a feature race that will be coming up shortly after this 20-minute sprint race. And Daniel looks to the inside. Very aggressive move from Daniel. They're side by side in the penultimate corner. Daniel's not going away yet, but he's going to have to tuck in through the final corner. But he might have a heck of a run on Mobius here, but the straight line speed of the Lamborghini is fantastic, so I don't know if Daniel will be able to make the move on the straight or not. We'll just have to see. 3-car battle for P4 here. It looks like that Mobius is catching up to Driver in the Renault, and looks like the gap from P1 to P2 is also spreading out a little bit. This is a giant 3-car battle for P3, and a little bit of contact for P4 as Daniel gives Mobius just a little bit of a nudge, just a tiny left step, you know. Heading to the hairpin now. These 3 drivers are battling and everything they've got. Daniel might go for a dive on here as Mobius goes insanely wide. That's going to be Daniel into P4. Now, he's got a sight set on driver. Daniel may be the fastest driver in this grid, just he couldn't set a fantastic qualifying lap. So Daniel's going to try and do everything he can to work his way back up to P1. Chasing him down now through the challenging corner in Sector 2 now. Daniel looked like to take a better, looks like he took a better line through there. He's right on the diffuser of driver. Daniel is just fantastic at forcing his competitors into mistakes, and that's the biggest commentator curse I think I've ever done. He, as soon as I say he forces his competitors into mistakes, he gets on the throttle a little bit too early and he spins the car out. So now we've got a tame field here as an STX Cone Dodger. Looks like he's pulling away from Intersport here, and Evan Quinn says, yeah, good timing. Yes, that was indeed some of the greatest timing that you will ever see in motor racing. Mobius now is going to try and do a Daniel attempted to do, just maybe not get on the throttle too quickly. That looked a little squirmy there in the Vodafone Lamborghini, but he's going to try and gain back the time that he just lost there. Don't think he's going to be able to do that too easy, though. His driver is, he is not a driver to laugh at all. A driver is one of the strongest, the strongest drivers in this league. That's a lot of drivers. Excuse me. But yet, he's nothing to laugh at. As he finished, as he was a solid contender at Brands Hatch. He seemed to be the only driver who could keep up with STX Cone Dodger at Brands Hatch. And we all know how that worked out for Cone Dodger, who won both the sprint and feature race. Just a dominating evening from him. But it looks like that Mobius is catching up to the driver. Mobius may have finally found some pace in the Lamborghini, and he could be on for a podium here in this sprint race. And Mobius, of course, was involved in some controversy at Brands Hatch. He reversed back onto the track right in the path of frontrunner Intersport 37. So that really threw a wrench into both his and an Intersport's race, obviously. So that caused a lot of controversy in this league. But now the gap's gone down drastically. I think it's about less than a half a second now between driver and Mobius. Mobius doing everything he can to chase down the Renault of driver. And Mobius takes an interesting line out of there. He just, a car looks like he almost does like a quarter spin almost out of that corner, and then he saves it. And I don't know if he is gaining time or not. It seems like he is, because he's right there on driver. He has only gained time. He hasn't lost a lick of time yet. So maybe that is the preferred line for that corner, and maybe I'm just don't know how to drive, which is probably why I'm in the commentator booth and they are not. The gap from first to second is also closed by about 4/10. It was about 1.8 seconds. That's say that it's going right back up to 1.8 seconds. Stop talking, Cindy. Good Lord. So Mobius now right on the back end of driver. I think I've said that at least 5 times in the past 5 minutes, because that's exactly what's happening, and that's all that's happened in this past 5 minutes. He goes a little wide though. So Mobius goes wide. He might lose a little bit of time, but that looks like that's going to give him a good exit, and he may actually gain time here. So Mobius may have found a new trick in that corner to go wide and optimize your exit. So he might have a pretty good run here on driver. And driver is anticipating the same thing that we are. He's bobbing and weaving and doing a Pagano, but here comes the Lamborghini. Now that Lamborghini's got some straight line speeds like a rocket ship, and Mobius is going to make it stick. No, he can't. He didn't have enough balls keep it stuck in there. So quite unfortunate there, but once again, he's not going down without a fight. Mobius still there, right on the diffuser of driver, coming down to the hairpin now. Gap now, I do believe, is like 0.2 of a second. Oh, it's right there in front of me. It's about a half a second. A driver goes wide. Driver goes wide and misses his apex a little bit, and Mobius absolutely nails the corner. Mobius might send a move here in a very dangerous part of the track, but he thinks better about it and tucks in for a few more corners as he kind of cuts the corner a little bit. But once again, it's okay because we actually support racing here. And it looks like a mistake or some sort by driver, and Mobius is going to go around the outside, heading towards the most challenging corner of the track. Mobius is going to clear him with ease, but it looks like he's going a little bit wide, and driver's going to be right back on the inside of Mobius. This battle isn't over, and this is letting Daniel catch up for this fantastic battle for P3. Are they still side by side? No. Mobius finally takes P3, but driver goes for the switchback. Don't know if that's going to work out for him. He's going to try the high line through the penultimate corner and try and get a fantastic exit. It didn't work too well for him. Coming out of the very long right-hander now, it's Mobius who leads this three-car pack battle for P3. This could be the slipstream train for days. Here comes driver in the red. I don't know if he's got the straight line speed to make a move or not. I think these three will stay single file for a few more corners before they try and do anything ambitious. But looks like we're going to have a battle for the lead. That's going to happen here in a second. That gap was 2 seconds, but it's gone down drastically. So we could have a battle for the lead as well, and a fantastic battle for P3. As Daniel goes wide, got a little loose, I believe. Now driver's going to be right on the diffuser of Mobius. He's going to send one in the hairpin. Does he actually make the corner? Yes, he does. Driver kind of makes it. There's contact. Contact with Mobius and Daniel. How did Daniel catch back up so fast? But yes, there's contact between those two drivers, and there's more contact, and Daniel spun again. I didn't have a fantastic view of that, but I want to put then the blame of Daniel for going for a little bit of a too adventurous of a move. I don't think the space was there, but Mobius squeezed the gap just a little bit. I don't know. Let's call it just the racing incident for now. So once again, the gap from P3 to P4, 0.3 of a second. And yes, poor Daniel indeed. I've inflicted the commentator's curse and all commentators' curse on that poor man. And driver, it looks like, has made the move for he was in P3 to start with. God, oh, man, I'm really just sucking an egg up here in the commentator booth. I do apologize for this subpar broadcast that y'all are receiving. 7 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in this GT3 race. It's STX Home Dodger who leads from Intersport. And Intersport's actually getting a lot of time back on Cone Dodger. We could have a fantastic battle for P1 here if Intersport can find a little bit more pace. It looks like he seems to have the faster car in these long runs, because that gap was almost 2 seconds, and now it's less than 0.8 of a second. So that Shinetta is looking insanely strong there. And I do appreciate the support in the chat saying that I'm doing great, but probably a few people who would beg to differ, and of course I missed it. There's contact between Mobius and Daniel once again, and Mobius is the one that spun out. I didn't catch it on stream, so I don't know if I'm not sure what happened because I was focused on the battle for P1, so we might have to go back and get an interview or something from the drivers to see what actually happened. And since Mobius is not in this party and Daniel doesn't have a mic, that's going to be hard to do, so we might have to get that view from Damage, which he's a pretty cool guy to talk to, so we might get an interview from Damage here shortly. So Cone, he enjoys the mid-race interviews. He says at talking, it actually helps him focus, I guess, but he's in a heated battle for P1, so we're going to hold off on the interview with STX Home Dodger for just a few laps here, because it looks like he's starting to check out here. I'm Intersport. But it looks like we've got a pretty good battle for P5 and 6 here. His damage is right on the diffuser of Mobius. Damage going to go to the inside. Mobius goes a little wide through the and open the corner. Could have a pretty good battle here. Out of the final corner now, does the Acura have enough straight line speed to even compete with that Lamborghini? And the answer, I'll go ahead and tell you. I'll go ahead and tell you, gentlemen, that's a fat no. That Lamborghini is just too strong in a straight line. And is he actually going to send this? Damage, he thought about it, but he's going to tuck in once again for a few more corners now. So we go back up to the battle for P1 now. 0.8 of a second, about a second, separating STX Cone Dodger and Intersport. And then in P3, it's XX Driver. P4 is Daniel. He's found a way to... This was shaping up to be a fantastic race, but Daniel and Koala made some contact in turn 1, really throwing a wrench into things. So that didn't go as we planned. But Daniel's made a great recovery drive here, so he's going to score some solid points, finishing in the middle of the field. Once again, the gap for P1 staying about the same. We've got about 4.5 minutes left here in this GT3 race with Algarve. But if y'all have found this exciting, do not forget that after this we have a 23-lap feature race, which will have a mandatory pit stop. So that's where all the action will happen. This is simply just an appetizer to what we will be seeing later. 4 minutes left in the session. It's STX Cone Dodger leading Intersport. If Intersport can just find just a little bit more pace, we could have a fantastic battle here for the lead. So going right on board here with Intersport, see if he can catch up any to the BMW M6 of Cone Dodger. Looks like he went a little bit wide there, so Intersport might be licking his chops now, as he might gain just a little bit of time on him. Every 10th matters here in this GT3 League, because the field's just so close. So every 10th that you can get is probably a difference between 2 or 3 spots. But as it looks like a little bit of a wiggle from Cone, it looks like the BMW is looking a little bit unstable, so Intersport's starting to gain on Cone Dodger here. And Cone Dodger goes a little bit wide, and Intersport pretty much nails the corner. So coming into the penultimate corner now, it's Intersport. 0.7 of a second is the gap. That gap has closed drastically this lap. It went from 1.3 seconds to less than 0.8 of a second. We could have a fantastic battle here, but coming onto the straightaway now, this is where the BMW should pull away from the Ginetta, because the Ginetta just doesn't have the straight line speed as all the other cars. It sounds like that car's popping out, I do believe. Okay. I wasn't sure, but that might want to fix those gear ratios there on the Ginetta. And Cone goes insanely wide. Cone goes wide. Cone goes wide. We've got a great battle here for P1, and here comes Intersport around the outside. They're side by side, heading towards the hairpin. Intersport will try and hold off the lead, but Cone might send it into the hairpin now. No, we've got a new race leader. Intersport 37 takes the lead with less than 2 minutes to go. Now Intersport knows how fast Cone Dodger is. He knows he's going to have to build somewhat of a gap to keep this win away from Cone Dodger. Of course, Cone Dodger is coming off of 2 wins in a row in this league, so Cone Dodger is in peak form. So if Intersport can find a way to win this race and take it away from Cone Dodger within the final minutes of this race, that'd be absolutely remarkable. I do believe we will have about 1 more lap to go across the line. What a moment there for the battle for the lead, but it's not over yet. 0.4 of a second. That's all that separates Intersport and Cone Dodger for the win of this sprint race. And that's just a sprint race, gentlemen. A feature race is a is a reverse grid 40-minute race, so that's where all the action's going to be. Don't forget to stick around for that. Here we go. White flag is in the air for the GT3 race from Algarve. This is where we're going to see all the action, all of the Cone Dodger lunges, if he does go for a lunge. Coming into turn 1 now, he might just send one here, and he might just do it. But I don't think he's going to be able to make that work as Cone goes a little bit wide. Heading into turn 3, I believe. Both drivers just trying to hit their marks for now. But later on in the lap, we're going to see just flat out racing. Down the long straight before that hairpin now. Don't think that the BMW will have enough time to go for a move just yet. So Intersport leads for a few more corners. It looks a little bit slippery there. And Cone Dodger right back on the diffuser of Intersport. This is the race we all wanted to see, and the race we were robbed from at Brands Hatch. This is what the fans want to see. It's Intersport leading from STX Cone Dodger 2.5 tenths. That's all that separates these two fantastic GT drivers. Into the most challenging part of the track, Cone Dodger thought about it. Thought about seeing a move, but he might just do it here. To the inside, Cone Dodger, he's not going to do it. He's going to tuck in for just a few more corners, but that's all he's got. That's all he's got, just a few more corners. Cone's really going to have to send a lunge here if he wants to win this race, and he's going to go for the switchback. Around the outside, can Cone Dodger make it work? Not just yet. He's got one more corner. He's going to have to get a fantastic exit out of this long right-hander if he wants to win this race. Intersport still leads. Here comes the BMW. They're coming down to the line now. Intersport leading 2 tenths is all that separates these two. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Coming to the line. Does he have enough slipstream? That's going to be it. Intersport 37 wins here from Algarve for the sprint race. And, of course, gives him a celebratory dump as well, Cone Dodger. So coming across the line about 20 seconds later will be XX Driver for P3. Man, fantastic battle for P1 at the end there. We could not have asked for a better show. XX Driver will come across, take the final step on the podium. Daniel will take P4. P5 will go to Mobius, and here comes the Acura of damage, weaving back and forth as if he's actually done something this race. He takes P6, and then P7. You hate to see it, gentlemen, but it's the Cully Koala who's going to round out the field. He looked promising. He qualified very well, about a tenth off of Cone Dodger, but he's going to come across the line for P7. But that's okay, because the Cully Koala will be starting on pole for the feature race coming up shortly. So don't forget about that. So coming up here in just a few seconds, we're going to have some post-race interviews with the race winner, Intersport, and we'll probably get an interview from Cone as well. Because that was just a fantastic battle. As a matter of fact, we could just go for both of them. So yes, we are going to unmute both drivers and get an interview with both of them. Hey, Cone Intersport, I've got a copy. Intersport and Cone, do y'all have a copy? Hey,
yeah, I got you, Sinister.
Yeah,
I'm just muting everyone else.
Yeah, so I've got, I've got both of y'all unmuted for obvious reasons because y'all put on one hell of a show at the end there. So whoever wants to go first, let's take us through what y'all are seeing in that battle.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think as you saw the fast laps, I had the pace when my tires were good at the start of the race, and just as the race wore on and the temps just kept creeping up, there was a lot of times in those slow hairpins where the tires didn't have any grip I was locking up, heating the tires up more, and just kind of belt and built. And Intersport did a great job of just managing the gap between us the whole race. I think he did a better job of managing his tires as well. He got a lot of great runs on me through the slow corners. I was able to pull him on the straights, but once he got ahead with the dirty air behind him, I just couldn't make anything else stick.
Some very good thoughts there from Cone Dodgers. Sport, it's your turn. What was that moment like? And you saw Cone go wide, and then you just capitalize on his mistake. Just take us through what was going through your mind. Yes, indeed. So, a fantastic race on both of you drivers. So, in turn one, we had a pretty massive accident, and from my point of view, I couldn't really see what exactly happened. I just saw the McLaren of Daniel just do a few 360s in the air. So, if y'all had a better view than me, could y'all just tell the viewers what exactly happened in turn one? For sure, for sure. Well, a fantastic race on both of you, and I'm sure we are going to get a fantastic show in the feature race as well. So, good luck to both of y'all, and thanks for talking to us. All right, that was the top two drivers of Intersport and Daniel. Not, you moron, of Intersport and Cone Dodger. And y'all couldn't hear Intersport, by the way. That is not my fault. That's going to be all on him. So, not sure what's going on there, but I do apologize if y'all couldn't hear Intersport. I just saw that comment. Whoopsie daisies. So come back here in about 5 or 10 minutes and we will get the feature race underway. So for a few seconds we will be taking a short break. So for a few minutes, just go get a snack and just get ready for what's about to be brought upon you. 40 minutes of fantastic GT racing. Alrighty, guys. For a brief amount of time, I am indeed back. So we're going to get an interview with Mobius, if he's still here, because he was involved in a lot of stuff with Daniel and Driver. All kinds of stuff was going on. So we're just going to ask what happened with him. We're going to wait just a second on that one, as he is still talking to some of the other drivers in this league. I've just gotten a warning that my internet quality is not sufficient enough for broadcasting. That's quite interesting. I think we're going to be okay, though, gentlemen. I'm still here. Haven't lagged out just yet. So I think we're going to hold off on an interview with Mobius, probably because he's from Australia. We're going to have to connect our voice with him. Yeah, we're going to have to look at that. But yeah, for now we're just going to wait on the interviews, because we don't want to stress the internet out that much. And yeah, we're just going to sit here and chill out. If y'all have some questions in the chat, be free to share them. I am doing absolutely nothing at the moment, so I will be open to answer any questions that y'all have in the chat. Alright, I'm going to try and get an interview with Koala here, because he was also involved in some interesting things. So we're going to talk to him for a brief moment, and then we will get back to the feature race. I'm not sure how far out we are from the feature race, but I will have y'all updated as soon as I hear word.
What? Mine's at friggin' at 60.
We're gonna hold off on that one, gentlemen, for obvious questions. We have a question from Evan Quinn. I can't see it, whatever his question may be, but you said don't ignore you. This is a serious question. If you were talking about the voice sharing thing, in the perfect world, that's all he has to do. But obviously, he says he's done that. But if it was that easy, then y'all would have been able to hear him. But unfortunately, we cannot hear him. So we're gonna have to just live with that. So, if you are enjoying what you're seeing so far, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it seriously helps out a lot. It just shows how well the league is doing, and don't forget to leave a comment as well to tell us what we can improve on as a league. But next week, we have Imola, so that's going to be a fantastic race. So don't forget about that next Friday at 7:30 Central Standard Time. Okay, so your serious question must have mustn't have been okay with the YouTube guidelines. If you want to try that again, but in a PG manner, then by all means go for it. But yeah, so I don't know how long we have to wait here for the feature race, but we're going to try again with an interview from Koala, see if it works out for us. Hey, hey, Koala, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Right, so you had quite the boring race, besides turn one, obviously. You qualified top three. Oh, it was looking quite nice for you, but then you got tangled up in an incident with Daniel. So, in your eyes, what exactly happened in turn one there?
Oh, what happened was that like Daniel's come in hot at turn one, you know, and he's come over, you know, and hit the other curb and just spun right in front of me, and I had nowhere to go. Sorry, just what? Yes, I can. Yeah.
Right, yeah, of course. Yeah, so quite the race for you, but the one positive from that, I guess, is that you will be starting P1 for the main event here this evening. How are you feeling heading into the feature race?
I'm feeling alright, like, you know, the car's consistent, and I'm just going to do the best I can.
Alright, man. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck in the feature race.
Thank you very much.
That was the Cody Koala, driver of the Mercedes SLS. Showed some incredible pace, but had his race essentially ended in turn one. But he will be P1 for the feature race, so stick around for that. Do not forget about the important feature race. That's where all the points are scored, gentlemen. Alright, so I do see your question in the chat now, and if I'm gonna be completely honest, I want to try and stay monetized, and we're going. Here we go. 40 minutes around Algarve. Who's ready? I'm ready. Are y'all ready? I hope y'all are ready, because if the sprint race was anything to judge the action off of, this is going to be an absolute cracker. And next time I say cracker, I want you all to unsubscribe from me immediately. Thank you. Don't let me do that again. So we're just gotta wait for the lobby to load. This is the awkward stage of the evening where I just sit here and talk, try and fill the awkward silence. And you are ready for me to answer your very important question. I'm sorry, but I simply cannot do that without getting banned from YouTube. Well, it's probably not that extreme. Just I won't be able to make the money, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit on that. Drivers are now adjusting their final setups on the grid, and they are getting ready to start this feature event, as the grid will have to manually form up. But I think it's time that we get an interview before this starts with the UDL damage. Hey, damage, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Cinny.
Good stuff. So last race was interesting for you, I guess. You rode around the back, I guess, for pretty much the entire thing. You get to see an interesting incident with with Mobius and Daniel, I believe. But I guess the benefit of riding around all day is that now for the feature race, you will be starting, what, P2?
Yep, P2.
P2. So starting on the front row of the grid for the main event of the evening, how are you feeling?
Well, I can't really blame the car for my struggling. I'm not very good at Algarve. I'm just kind of making laps and hoping everybody else dies. Lap 1 was interesting for me. I got a couple of pinballs in the first few corners. Got the boot every once in a while. So that was really fun. But, other than that, it went okay. So, yeah. Hopefully this race does go slightly better.
Hope
And,
so.
as long as it does, we'll be okay.
Sure, for sure. So, yeah, thanks for talking to us, and good luck in this feature race.
All right, thank you.
That was the driver of the Acura UDL Damage. He is very high because he will be starting P2 here for this feature race. So the starting grid for a feature race goes like this. Row 1, it is Hikali Koala, who is alongside UDL Damage in P2. P3 is Mobius. He had a very, very incident-packed race. And then in P4, these two are probably just some arch rivals now. In P3 and P4 is Mobius and Daniel. P5 is XX Driver, and P6 is STX Clone Dodger. And rounding out the field is the sprint race winner, Intersport 37. So some interesting things to note about this race is that there is a mandatory pit stop, and that's why we run laps instead of just 40 minutes. But after it's all said and done, this should equal about 40 minutes of racing. Oh man, I cannot contain my excitement. This is going to be an absolutely incredible race. You've got a fast guy who's starting on pole because kind of got screwed in the sprint race, and we've got the race winner who's going to have to try and work his way through some traffic if he wants to win this thing. It's going to be incredible to witness. Coming out of the penultimate corner now, grid will be starting to form up. 7 incredible drivers will tackle Algarve for 23 laps. Grid's forming up, and Koala's taking the inside line. Smart thing to do. Here we go, the 3 rows of 2 with Intersport 37 rounding out the field. They're coming down the pit straight now. What's happened there? And I cannot see the race start for whatever reason. So we're going to go on the roof cam now. And we're green from Algarve. And it looks like a good start from the entire field. But they're already 3 wide back there. As looks like driver's going to look to the inside of Mobius. And Koala is once again darting away from the field. And looks like Damage is going to try to cut across the field. Will Damage be able to keep P2? I don't know. But here comes STX Cone Dodger. Cone Dodger's already looking for P2 in this race. He's already up to P3. Cone Dodger making insane moves on lap 1. But he does go a little bit wide, so that's going to hurt him just a little bit. Cone wants to win this race. He's going to send a dive bomb into the hairpin now on driver and should be able to make the move with ease because he is the dive bomb king of this league, I do believe. Wow, another a clean but exciting start as we're now side by side for P2 once again. Cone trying to defend from driver, but Cone will hang on to P2 as he sets his sights on the cuddly Koala in the big Mercedes SLS. As Intersport still is in the back of the field. He's going to have to make up a lot of spots here if he wants to really have a chance to make it 2 in a row. But it's going to be a very difficult task for him. Back at the front of the field, it's the Cuddly Koala already after a 2.5 second gap over Cone Dodger. So we could have a pretty good battle for the final step on podium now as Daniel's going to get a good run on driver here. Heading through the final corner now as the BMW looks a little bit loose. When McLaren, I do believe, has the straight line speed advantage, and he goes insanely wide. What has happened there? Insanely wide for Intersport's already in the pits. Not sure why he's making his pit stop now. Sure, it's just a strategy move. Maybe he knows something we don't. But until lap 23, he's essentially out of this race. So now, Honda trying to chase down the Mercedes SLS of the Cuddly Koala. Single file coming through the hairpin now, everyone being tame and just trying to hit their marks now as they are sailing into this very long 23 lap race here at Algarve. No one's crashed out yet. The pack is still very close together. So this race this race is still up for grabs. Driver's going to get a good run on Mobius. He's going to look to the inside of the kink now. Might take an interesting line through the challenging corner up here. I do believe that's the wrong corner, and I got myself backwards, but it's okay because driver will still have a pretty good exit here, and he's going to try and get right on the back of the diffuser of the Lamborghini. On the exit of the final corner now. Here comes the Renault, going to try and make a move on the Lamborghini. Don't think he's got the straight line speed to quite do it though. No, he's going to have to tuck in once again for the first part of this track. And in the pits, the Cuddly Koala pits from the race lead, hands it over to STX Tone Dodger. If you're expanding the gap, I'm not sure why you would exactly do that, but I'm sure he knows. He knows what he's doing. That's why he's down there and I'm up here. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see here. Will Koala rejoin in front of Intersport? It's going to be kind of relatively close. But I do think Koala will have a pretty big gap there from Intersport. So Intersport will have to try and chase down Koala if he wants to be in the net lead of this race. So leading the race now, SDX Cone Dodger leads from Daniel, who's actually closing that gap. In third place is Mobius in the Vodafone Lamborghini. Fourth place is Driver in the Renault. Fifth place is GDL Damage in the Acura. Sixth place is the Cuddly Koala in the Mercedes SLS. And rounding out the field at the moment is Intersport 37 in the Jannetta. Back to the battle for P3 now. Looks like the best battle on the track, and the gap is about right around a second from Mobius to Driver. So any second now, this battle could really ramp up. Looks like just a single file train here. I'm sorry if I go quiet. That's just because there's not really anything happening. So, just a single file train here at the moment. No gaps really closing or expanding, except for the gap in first. That gap does seem to be expanding just a tad. Gap from third to fourth, still 1 second and a tenth. So XX Driver's going to have to try and close that gap if he wants a chance to stand on the final step of the podium here in the feature race. And we have a comment on And where's Kitten Petter? He is not in this league. He is in a completely different league orb than this. But it looks like the gap now from first to second's closed ever so slightly, not too drastically, but it's down to about a second and a half now. As Daniel seems to be clocking in the faster laps, not that particular lap, but we're going to see what the lap times are this time around, to see if Daniel has found a way to go faster than Cone. So coming across the line now is STX Cone Dodger. We're going to see the lap times. Cone comes across at the 45.0. Daniel comes across at the 44.3. So Daniel obviously much quicker on that lap. He's absolutely going for it. That gap's now down to about about a second and 3/10 now. That gap is just keeps on closing. Daniel could be right on the diffuser Cone Dodge here any second. And once the pit stops are cycled through, we could have a 4-car battle for the win here. Heck, even a 5-car battle if Mobius can catch up to the tail end of Daniel. But he's going to have to defend from Driver now, who's still just a second off of Mobius. Damage has began to fall away from this lead pack, so he's probably at the moment in a net last position. Oh, Daniel gets a little bit slidey, and he's done that twice. He's done that twice this evening. He's too early on the throttle, and he spins the car around. He's got to work on throttle control. That's very important in these cars. You just can't seem to get it down that corner, but he's right on the diffuser of Driver now. This is going to make a fantastic battle for us to see. He might just make a move here, heading it into turn 1 for P3. He's furious. He knows he's messed up. He wants to get back to P2 as fast as possible, and he's going to go for it here. Diving to the inside now. Daniel might send the move to the inside, won't make it work. Goes a little bit wide, might have a good exit here, going into this very tight turn 3. And he goes to the inside of Driver. It looks like they may be side by side. And Daniel's going to get the better run, I do believe. That gap's closing drastically. Daniel might set a dive bomb here to the inside. Daniel looking on Driver. Still on the inside and still side by side as they head towards the left-handed kink now. Still side by side. Goodness me. Calm down, boys. Daniel is not going away. He's furious. He's heated. He is in something that us gamers call full tilt mode. He is absolutely furious of the mistake he's made. So he's going to try and correct it as much as possible. As much as possible, and also as fast as possible. Put that in there, because he's a racing driver. But around the outside now, Daniel's going to try and make the move. Gets a little loose once again. He just can't keep that car stable. It looks like the McLaren is driving on ice almost. But he's going to get a good run out of here. He takes a better line through the final corner than Driver, using as much track as possible all the way on the edge of the red. Driver dives down to the inside and tries to go defensive. Don't think it's going to work too well for him. Daniel, I do think, has the faster car in a straight line. Don't think he's going to make the move just yet into turn 1. Heading into the very tight turn 3 now. Daniel's going to look for the switchback to the inside now. He will not make that work, but he's going to get a good exit out of this corner, and he might make it work on Driver. This looks the exact same as the lap before. Will he send the dive bomb this time, though? You bet he will. That's what Daniel does. Sends the dive bomb. Does he make it work? It looks like a little bit of contact's made. Still, my gosh, it looks the exact same. Still side by side for both of them. It looks like this time that Daniel will hold on to the spot, but no, I stand corrected. They're still side by side. heading into the double apex corner, still side by side. Daniel goes a little bit wide, but still side by side. Heading into the right-handed kick, no, the left-handed kick, side by side, going to the very challenging corner here. Who's taking the better line? It looks like that driver will hold on for now as he took the better line through that corner. Daniel, that back end snapped out from under him just a little bit there. And now Daniel looks to the inside. Don't think the cars don't spin this time. He's learned from his mistake, but it looks the exact same as last lap. Making the exact same moves, but this time his driver gets a pretty subpar exit. And now Daniel will have a pretty good run coming out of the final corner now. He's going to be right under the diffuser of that Renault, and we know Daniel's going to use as much track as possible to try and maximize speed as much as he can. Here he comes, right on the diffuser of that Renault. Don't think he's going to make the move into turn 1 unless he's really adventurous. No, he's going to stick around in P2 for a few more corners. But he's going to try to switch back probably into turn 3 now, because that's what he does best. Going to really step into the inside here. Going to get a good exit out of this corner. And, got a little loose there. Don't think it's going to be too good this time, but I think he might still go for the dive bomb. No, not this lap. He's going to tuck in for a few more corners before he makes the move, but it looks like driver makes a little bit of a mistake now, gets a little loose. And also, it looks like that the move was to pit really early. That seems to be benefiting Koala and Intersport a lot here, as they're closing the gap on the lead driver, so that might be beneficial to him. But what's happened to Daniel? He's gone wide. It's a spin. There's a spin. It's Mobius. Mobius just spun for P2. What's happened there? He spun and he's in the middle of the track, but what happened to Mobius? He just cannot have an incident-free race. It's just impossible for him. But now the battle for P3 now is also a battle for P2. As you saw, Daniel went insanely wide, completely just missing the corner there in Sector 2. So it's going to hurt his battle a lot here. STX Cone Dodger now has an 8-second lead over XX Driver, but that's not the drivers he is battling really. He's trying to expand the gap from Koala and Intersport as much as possible, because that's the people he will be racing whenever he pits. Now Mobius probably making the smart move after that spin and coming into the pits now. So we're going to watch his pit stop and see if it works out for him. See how quick the stop is. It looks like he came in to just repair some stuff. Just a simple stop and go for Mobius, because a rule in this league, it's not written what you have to do during the pit stop. You just have to pull in and stop at some point during the feature event. So Mobius will round back out the P7 in the field here. That puts UDL damage P6. Whoa, really wide there. Intersport up to P5. Cuddly Koala in the P4. Daniel to P3. Driver P2. And STX Cone Dodger holds on to P1 for the time being. And now Daniel, once again, that car just looking all kinds of loose. Nine laps complete here at Algarve. We've got a lot more to go. This is just the start of this fantastic feature event. We're about halfway through. And already seems to have closed that gap a lot. He's going to get a good run out of the final corner. Going to try and close up the gap as much as possible. I do believe that the McLaren is faster than the Renault in a straight line. So Mike could gain a good bit of time here on this very long pit straight. Hanging in turn 1. The gap is about a half a second or thereabouts. Whoa! Big snap of oversteer there from Daniel, and he's in the dirt! Daniel's in the dirt! Daniel is in the dirt. He gets a huge snap of oversteer, and he goes in the dirt. Man, Daniel and Mobius just cannot have an incident-free race. This was Daniel's turn for redemption after turn 1 in the sprint. He just can't keep the car on track. Very unfortunate for Daniel. Gap now 1.8 seconds. No good battles on track. We've officially reached what we call a dry period, so it's time for what we call a shameless plug. If you are enjoying what you are seeing so far, then don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. We do this every single Friday, besides last week because of the Rolex 24 in celebration of it. But next week we have the GT3 race of Imola. Should be a fantastic race. Should have a lot more cars there as well than just 7. But yeah, should be pretty entertaining to watch. Don't forget to leave a comment as well, and be active in the chat and talk to me, and I'll answer some questions during the dry period. A comment from Evan Quinn saying that the McLaren looks awful to drive, and you're telling me that McLaren looks like an absolute joke of a car. And what's happened there? The cone, he's gone insanely wide through the airpin. It shouldn't hurt him too bad, as the gap's still 8 seconds from him and P2, which is driver. The question now is when will Cone make his pit stop? That is the question. As we look at where Koala and Intersport is, they have closed the gap on Cone. So if Cone's probably waited too late for pitting now, so he may have just so every single lap he is throwing away his race. And we have a comment during this dry period. Super Bowl prediction. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no idea. Both the 49ers and the Chiefs, both some world-class football teams. It's gonna be hard to call. I think it's gonna be kind of an average scoring game. I don't think it's gonna be anything crazy like 42, 49 or anything like that, or any low scoring BS like 17-3 or anything like that. I'm gonna give the edge to the 49ers. I'm gonna say the score will be 28-24. In favor of the 49ers. Just kind of pull that out of my back pocket, because I really have no idea. I just kind of threw out some numbers and picked a random team. But I do think the 49ers will come out on top in Super Bowl 54. We're going to look with the Cully Koala here, who made his pit stop very early along with Intersport. So who knows? At the moment, Koala could still be your net leader of this race, but since the mandatory pit stop rule, indeed. So we got another comment in the chat. Question 2 from Evan Quinn. Does Greco deserve capital punishment? For those of you who don't know, Greco is a driver in the UDL F1 League. That's where I really started my sim league racing career. And Greco, he treated me and Evan here like absolute trash during the race, setting a bunch of pointless dive bombs. Well, not really dive bombs, just he kept on shoving us off track, just lap after lap, and didn't stop. And then after the race, he went on to say that he did nothing wrong. So for that, I wouldn't say capital punishment. I think that's a little bit far, but I do think he deserves more. 50 seconds, the Cone Dodger into the pits. This is where the race really ramps up now, ladies and gentlemen. Cone Dodger, race leader, into the pits. What does he stop for? Has he stopped for tires or gas, or is it a simple stop and go for the BMW? It's a simple stop and go. Where is Koala? Here comes Koala around the final corner. Will he take back the race lead? Or did Cone have the better strategy? It's going to be nowhere close. The Curly Koala takes over a net P1. But here comes Intersport as well. I think that Intersport might be able to get around Cone Dodger as well. Will he be able to get around? Can't tell. Don't really have Cone in frame, and no, he will not be able to. Cone will just squeak out in front of... Well, I say that, and they're side by side to the hairpin, and Intersport takes away net P2 away from Cone Dodger. So now, these two, as much as they probably hate to, they're going to have to try and work together to catch back up to the Curly Koala. Because the Curly Koala showed some insane pace in that Mercedes, in the Mercedes SLS. They're going to have to make up 6 seconds on him in the last 10 laps of this race. But now to the actual lead of the race. It's XX driver, but of course he's still yet to make his pit stop along with Daniel. Those are the only two drivers who have yet to make their pit stop, I do believe. So once those two make their pit stop, we will be looking good for a clean race. But we still have a great battle here for net P2. It's Intersport trying to defend from Cone Dodger. We've seen this before in the sprint race, and we all know how it ended. It saw Intersport making a daring move into the hairpin and holding off Cone Dodger for the final lap of the race. It was a fantastic move from Intersport and a fantastic final lap as well to clinch the sprint race. But now he's got a bigger objective on his plate. He's going to try and take the feature race win from Koala, as now he's pulling a Pagano as well. Don't know why that move is so popular. And Cone, obviously disgusted by this act, flashing the lights back and forth, even though he can't really say anything, because he did the same thing in the sprint race, just to a more incredible extent. Got about 9 laps to go here in this GT3 race from Algarve. Intersport, Cone, they just can't separate themselves on track. No matter where they are, they always find a way to put on a great show for us. Cone, once again, flashing his lights like he always does. The gap now from a net P1 to net P2 is now 6.9 seconds or thereabouts. So they're not gaining time yet on Koala, so they're going to have to work together and actually gain time on the flying Aussie of the Curly Koala. Going a little bit wide there is both drivers using as much track as possible to try and maximize their exits as best they can. Heading towards the penultimate corner now. Is Cone going for a move here? Cone's going to look around the outside here. If Intersport, don't think that's going to work too well for him. As they head towards the final corner now. Now, the BMW should be able to get a move done on the home straight, since the straight line speed of the BMW is much better than the straight line speed of the Jetta. So BMW might make a move now. As the BMW of Cone Dodger looks to the inside, and Intersport kind of throws a little block in there, and they make contact, and oh no! No, guys, that's not what we wanted to see. Contact between the both of them, but both drivers managed to save it. But that's not going to help their feature race campaign at all. But now Cone Dodger's going to find his way. He's going to find his way past Intersport, which probably rightly deserved, as Intersport kind of gave him a little bit of a door slam. So, yeah, quite the moment there for both of those drivers. Now Intersport going to send an almighty dive bomb to the hairpin of the Jetta. Look at the turn in that Jetta. He makes the move stick. But now, oh my goodness me, the gap from Koala to Intersport now 8.8 seconds. This is not helping their cause at all. Koala is running away with it now. Going to a challenging corner. Looks like that Cone was late on the brakes there. He's going to have a good run here. Might try and make a move into the third to last corner. No, he's going to wait one more corner. But as we usually see here, he's going to try around the outside, but Intersport was ready for it. Great defending from Intersport there. He knows that he's going to have to defend a whole lot since the BMW has a lot more straight line speed than his Jetta. Coming to the pit straight now. BMW is not as close as he was the last lap, so we probably won't see a moment like the last lap, but Intersport going to the bottom of the track, Cone Dodger trying to get as much slipstream as possible, and Cone Dodger to the outside of Intersport, and there's contact again! These two can't stay off of each other, but this time it sends Intersport spinning. Intersport spins a little bit, but saves the car. Oh man, if I'm being completely honest, absolutely disgusting driving by both drivers. It looks like Cone just turned in on Intersport. Probably just a little bit of payback for what he did to him on the pit straight. But, man, what a race we're having here between these two drivers. And already, Intersport's right on the back of Cone again. But all of this is letting driver catch back up. So we could have a fantastic battle or the podium here, but it looks like that the Kali Koala is just going to cruise out to a race victory here because these guys just won't stop battling each other. Jetta, looking real dicey there, and Intersport loses it. No, I don't want to quit the session. Intersport loses it. Heading into the corner, he spun his car out. We can't see it on frame. There he is. Just doing a little bit of off-road and trying to get the car back on track. But Intersport throws away an easy podium. Ah, man, heartbreak for Intersport. He had a fantastic sprint race, but now it's all gone to absolute shambles. Now, Daniel in the pits. There he goes into the pit lane. That's going to put the Kali Koala to the actual lead of this race. Cone Dodger should be able to get past Daniel. And yes, he will be. But now, the fantastic part of all this, the gap from the Kali Koala to STX Cone Dodger, 12 seconds. Cone will have to try and make up 13 seconds here if he wants to win this race and take it away from the Kali Koala. And if I'm being completely honest, I do not see that one happen. Alright, no warning signs on the leaderboard, so once again, we have reached what we call a GT3 dry period. So, any questions you have, feel free to post them in the chat. I will answer them. They can be random off the wall or about the race. I will answer them happily. Best battle on track at the moment is between Daniel and Intersport. That gap is about second or somewhere around the second. I think it got as low as about 7/10 of a second. So Intersport going to try and get back up to the podium places here. Ooh, driver looking a little bit squirmy there. And we have a question sent in by Evan Quinn saying that, is John the best person to ever exist? And of course, John, he raced with us in Monza, and that race was not streamed because I was actually driving because I didn't have a burnt hand, and then I burned my hand for Brands Hatch, and then I found myself in the field of commentating. That's not important. He's talking about league steward in the EDL F1 League of Jonathan Ledoux. I still don't know how to say his name, but yes, without a doubt, Jonathan is by far the greatest human being to ever grace this magnificent planet. I say magnificent planet, but wow. It's been in shambles lately, hasn't it, boys? Back to P2 now. Cone Dodger has about an 8/10 second. What did I just say? An 8/10 of a second gap over driver, so we can have a pretty good battle here for P2 still. It's not over just yet. So 17 of 23 laps completed and in the books here for this GT3 feature event. I do think that the Koala will cruise to an easy victory here, unless the absolute unthinkable happens and he manages to spin. That would be very unfortunate for Koala. I really hope that doesn't happen. I really hope he pulls through and picks up a win in the feature race here at Algarve. That was probably very, very biased, but Koala, he deserves it after having an abysmal sprint race and starting close to the front. He deserves to have a fantastic feature race. He's had the speed in every single session. Just he hasn't been able to get the job done. He missed out on pole by just a tenth or two, and then he missed out on the sprint race win by getting spun in turn 1. Another question, but once again, the same person. We need more people to comment. Are Intersport and Cone the same person? Yeah. So, I get that a lot, actually. I'm sure if y'all heard, oh, wait, no, you couldn't, because Intersport can't turn on his voice steering for whatever reason. But they sound the exact same, but there's a big incident there. Driver, what's happened there? Did he brake a little bit too heavy and the car just slipped out from under him? What's happened there with Driver? Oh man! As soon as we were in a dry period, we see a wild Driver just fly across our screen. That's unfortunate for Driver. Not sure what's happened there. I think just messed up under braking and spun the car around. Now he goes insanely deep in the. Oh man, that Renault looking horrible now, and now Intersport killing some cones, something that Cone Dodger would not be a fan of. Yeah, so back to your question of Intersport and Cone being the same person. Yes, I think that is confirmed that Intersport and Cone is the same person. They've got the same PlayStation avatar. They talk exactly the same. They sound exactly the same. They are literally the exact same person. I just wish that y'all could hear the resemblance on stream, but due to some technical issues with Intersport, y'all obviously cannot hear the particular resemblance, which is an absolute shame. Back at the front, the Cuddly Koala leads this motor race by 14 seconds. Wow, what a clinic put on by the Cuddly Koala. He started on pole and he just checked out from the field. Goes a little bit wide there. That's not going to be a problem. Looked a little bit squirmy for the hairpin, but other than that, he's looking alright. Cuddly Koala, 13.5 seconds now the gap. So Cone Dodger's closed up a little bit, but I don't think he's got enough time to really close 13 seconds. The best battle on track at the moment is for P4. Predictions for F1 Bahrain. He's talking about the UDL F1 League, and fellas, I think it's going to be a Ferrari 1-2. If you haven't seen it, I suggest that you go and watch it on Damage's YouTube channel. It was a interesting race. Both Ferraris got screwed, and I hate to really say this, but I want to say me especially. I was told that the win was rightfully mine, but I was essentially screwed by an AI back marker that put me into the wall backwards, so I had to settle for a P5 finish. As my teammate, who is Evan Quinn here, went on to finish P2, so we still had a solid points haul, and we're leading the constructors, but yes, we deserve a 1-2 at Bahrain, and I do believe it's going to happen. I do believe that we'll cross the line in formation and make a picture and make a fantastic image for the UDL lead. But something's happened with Daniel. I happened to catch it on the map. We had a dot moving slowly, but now looks like that Intersport and Driver will have to try and maneuver their way around the McLaren here. As that McLaren's real beat up. You think he's going to move out of the way from both. Is he actually going to try and defend from these two? Your car is so beat up, there's no point in trying to defend this. Now, Driver's going to absolutely send one, almost taking out Daniel, but now, wow, what a send by Driver. As he makes his way up into P4, he's going to look for P3 here for the final step on the podium. Yeah, three-car battle now for the final step on the podium. 3 laps to go here. Driver looks like he got the better exit out of there. Once again, the McLaren jiggling, wiggling, squirming, just doing whatever besides just staying stable and just staying on the black stuff. That McLaren just looks absolutely horrible to drive. So here comes this massive 3-car pack around the final corner now. We might see a pass happen. Who knows? We might not. Intersport right on the rear end of Driver. I don't think he's going to be able to make any moves on the straight, but once again, there's a lot of Pagenaud's going on here on the pit straight. Interesting tactics by all the drivers there, especially Daniel, who I am just in awe that he's still in this battle with a beat-up race car like that. Here comes Driver, got a good exit, and Daniel cuts him off. Daniel cuts off the Renault Driver, but thankfully it doesn't affect Driver too much. He's going to send in a dive bomb on Daniel. And Driver's going to make the move stick. No, it's Daniel who makes the switchback work, and he's going to clear him. He's going to stay in P3. Daniel's just not going away, is he? Driver all over the back of Daniel. I'm sure he's frustrated with how he has raced him. He's kind of probably upset that he's got that much of a damaged car and just holding up him in Intersport. Or holding him up from trying to gap Intersport. Which, yes, this has hindered his progress a lot. But coming around the penultimate corner now, heading towards the final corner. Driver gets a little bit of grass, a little bit loose, but he saves it. Doesn't lose too much time. But the Ginetta is going to be right on the back of that Renault now. We could see the Ginetta make a move in a straight line. We don't see that often, but there's Daniel once again weaving back and forth, pulling the Pagenaud. Okay, I'm going to be honest, fellas. That's absolutely disgusting, and there's no place for that in motor racing. There's nothing need to bob and weave back and forth and try and break the slipstream. It's cheap, it's disgusting, there's no point in it. 1 lap to go here at Algarve, and it's Koala who's leading by 13.5 seconds. I will be sure to catch him crossing the line for the win, and he drove an absolutely fantastic way so I can pronounce my excuse me. A fantastic race. Coming to the hairpin now. Daniel right on the... Get these two confused all the time. Driver right on the back of Daniel. Here he goes to the inside. You don't see a move happen there too often, but looks like that Drew save it now, and he does save it. Driver gets loose, does a half spin, but he manages to save the car. Now Intersport might look for a move to this corner, and the cornering speed of that Ginetta is just incredible. And now once again, Daniel all kinds of loose. But at the front of the field, it's the cuddly Koala winning here at Algarve by 13.5 seconds. But our focus is on the battle for P3, and it looks like that Daniel has dumped Intersport. What's happened there? Daniel dumps Intersport. XX Driver will be able to take P3 with ease now. As soon as I go back to catch Koala winning this race, I missed probably the most controversial moment of the entire race. Here comes XX driver. He's going to come across and take P3. Cone is already across the line for P2. P4 will belong to Mobius. Mobius will take P4. Intersport will have to settle for P5, and P6 will be Daniel. And P7, he's coming. Y'all wait on him now. He's coming. He's getting a heck of an effort. He's hung in there. He's hung in there with the big boys in the accurate UDL damage. Gonna come home P7 in the feature race. He's leaving back and forth. He's happy he even completed this race, and I am too. UDL damage comes across P7. Alright, so we're going to get an interview here with the Cuddly Koala and probably a few more drivers as well. To get their viewpoints on certain incidents and what happened. So first we're going to talk to the Cuddly Koala. Hey. Hey, you got a copy?
Sorry. You're up? You there, Sinister?
Yes, I am. Fantastic drive out there, winning by about 13.5 seconds over STX Cone Dodger. Fantastic drive.
Thank you.
In your eyes, how did that drive feel, in your opinion?
It felt good. You know, I stayed out of trouble. You know, the car was consistent. It was really good.
Heck yeah, man. But yeah, fantastic drive, and like you said, you stayed out of trouble and you kept your nose clean. Yeah, so fantastic drive, man. 13.5 seconds over STX Cone Dodger. Fantastic race, man.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
That was feature race winner the Cuddly Koala. We have a comment from our fellow racer UDL Damage saying that this league sucks. You hate to see it, gentlemen. I would interview Intersport because there was some interesting things going on at the end there, but yeah, his mic it's not working. So yeah, I do believe that's going to conclude our broadcast of the GT3 PC2 League presented by Intersport 37. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back next Friday at Imola for the 4th round of the season. So, on the commentary booth here at Algarve, I've been Sinister Alf 43. Good night.